Hi everyone, today I am going to be doing some colouring on this page from Magical Seasons by Lenka Filonenko. It's a semi-grayscale book. I have shown you a little bit of colouring from it already, and I feel like I've now got to grips with how I think works best with my style of colouring to colour in these books. So I'm just going to do a little bit. We might just do the birds, we might do a bit more, I'm not really sure yet. So I am going to start with the dark red. These are my Polychromos pencils, and I'm going to do the darkest areas of the hats of the birds. So we're just going to start there, and we're going to use the grayscale parts as a guide. So where it's dark, I'm going to apply my dark pencil and then scumble it out a little bit to sort of fade it. So I'm just using the markings as a guide for me, and I suggest this is quite a useful way to sort of learn where to put your shading. So there's that one. This one is a bit more dark on it. I'm doing all the hats red. I just feel it's nice and festive. You don't have to do them all the same colour. And what I'm doing is here, I'm picking out the really dark areas because there's quite a lot of dark on the whole of this one. And then I'm just putting a lighter layer in other places where it still has got some dark mark. A tip, I should have said this before I started, make sure you put some paper underneath, some blank paper. Actually this one's okay. Some of the books like this one doesn't have it, have a black page here, this one doesn't. And I was colouring one the other day and I put some paper behind the page as I always do, and the black came off on the piece of paper, which is obviously the purpose of the piece of paper, but if I hadn't used it I'd have been quite upset because it would have come off on the next page. So it's good to make sure you do pop some paper down. Just doing a bit of loose colouring there. I think I'm going to do this scarf in red as well. So I'm looking around, I might do some other reds, but the nature parts of the picture aren't going to have any sort of festive colours in. So it's quite nice to throw in some festive red into the picture, I think. It's funny because I was beginning of November thinking I haven't got that many Christmas books, I don't know what I'm going to do. And now I'm looking and I have got so many lovely Christmas wintry themed pictures to do. I'm struggling to choose which ones to do because there's so many. I mean, I get time myself to do lots, which is brilliant, but to share with you, I mean, I'm sort of thinking which are the ones that I should use. I'm just trying to find my next red. I'm going to go a little bit paler with this one. I'm just going to look up the name of it because it's been sharpened off. It is number 223 and it's deep red because I still want a nice, and I'm going to go over the top of the red that I've done already and then just spread out into the space where there isn't any red. Now the bit that I haven't quite figured out is the white, and obviously there's lots of snow to colour in this picture. I'm still leaving it a bit lighter in the areas where we didn't have any grey, and I'm going to go over in yet another red just to finish. So here with the bobble, for example, I'm thinking, what do I do with that? Because there's a bit of grey on it. I don't normally colour, I suppose I sometimes put a bit of grey on. I'm thinking out loud really as to what to do. And this hat, we've got this sort of furry bit and under here, so I'm sort of having a think what to do. And the paper is very white, so unlike Johanna Basford books where the paper's a bit cream for most of her books, so you can put some white down and it'll show up. Can't really do that here. So I'm having a think. I think what I might do is use a light grey and maybe a white pen. That might be what I'm going to do. I've gone over the lines into the white, which isn't ideal, but it happens. It's just just what happens. To me anyway. So we put our Christmas tree up now, which is really nice. Put up lots of Christmas lights. We've got lots of jobs done in the house this weekend. It's actually Sunday I'm recording. I don't normally record on a Sunday, but I've got workmen in tomorrow, and rumour is, I've missed that bit off, hang on, that, whoops, I'm going back to my dark red just to do this bit of the scarf that I missed. Rumour is that they might be finished, but I sort of don't want to get my hopes up because I have so many times before. But also, back to this other red now. He's said he would confirm with me, and he hasn't. So, come on. But if the two chaps who will promise come out, then it will be finished. And we put up our decorations and everything. So the house is ready for Christmas. Obviously it will need cleaning and things before we have our guests. I'm hoping to have a friend around next week. Nice first sort of Christmassy get together, which will be nice. It's a bit early, but you know, it is what it is. And just reminds me, I don't think I've written her a Christmas card, which I ought to do. But anyway, so that's exciting. And so I feel a little bit more sort of in control of what's going on, really. I think this is the sort of palest red. This is pale geranium lake. I'm going to use it to just finish everything off. So again, I'm going to go right over the top and just bring it all together. Now with this this book, the paper, it needs a few layers, and if you're finding it is still showing white through that you don't want to see, you can use a blending pencil or a burnisher to just finish it off. But I'm okay with this, with how mine's looking. I think I'm not against seeing a little bit of paper showing through. I think it's fine. Whoops. Nearly turned the corner then with my arm. I have to be so careful with these thinner books and with my big cardigan. Sometimes it just catches them. I think they're looking very festive, but we might want to colour their feathers and beaks. But we'll do the white on their hats first. Yeah, I need to show you how to do it, don't I? I'm just thinking whether... yeah, I think we will. We might have to just reapply a bit of it after. You'll know what I mean once I get going. I'm just trying to finish off the scarf a little bit. Just basically going over all the areas that are a bit pale, like that tassel. Maybe my pencil isn't quite sharp enough. Right, so there are hats and scarves. Now the white, let's do that. Now we want cold greys. We don't want warm greys, browny greys. We want very silvery greys. We could use silver, but I don't think it's quite what I'm looking for. I'm going to grab, this is the Cold Grey 3. This is my sort of favourite cold grey, I suppose, for this sort of thing. Now I'm going to go over the bits that have been marked in grey, just a little bit. And a bit. Like that. And now I'm going to sharpen it really sharp. There we go. And do some lines. We want it to look like fur. Oh, we didn't do any on here. There isn't actually any grey on here. On the sort of grayscale bit. So lines, different directions. The more directions, the more fluffy and furry it looks. You can have them all going in one direction if you feel happier with that, but I like it a bit of a mix like that. Then him. Here, all coming out from the centre sort of does make sense for a bobble. But they wouldn't all start in exactly the same place. Now you can use this for fluffy stockings, any sort of fluffy furry bits. And here. Now we're overlapping the background, so really this is best done last, but it just felt the right time to do it as we're doing the birds now. There they are. Now what we do is we get a white. I'm going to use my Posca. It might be a little bit thick, but it's brand new, so I know it's going to work nicely for us. And what we do is we go over everywhere with white, making sure you overlap the black edge lines. That is sort of key really. That helps it look a lot more fluffy. Now you might not want it to look quite this fluffy, but again we're going over bits of the bird which I'm going to colour in a minute. Now the problem with colouring over the white pen, I'm going to make this bit smaller because it's only a narrow piece. The problem with colouring over white Posca is that it sometimes scrapes it off, especially if your pencil's really sharp. But I just wanted to show you this. This is quite a cute colouring book. There are people in here, like fairies and little girls and things like that, which I've got to be brave and colour. I'm sure I will. And the fact that there is grayscale on them means that I've got a guide, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be able to work out where to go lighter and darker with the skin tones from the way it's drawn, so that's really, really cool. But I was bought this book to do buddy colours in with my friend, so I'm probably only do this one picture as a tutorial because I want to colour with her because she bought the book for me, but I did just want to do one with you. Now there is our hats. Let's do our beaks. Now I'm looking at these birds. He looks like a great tit because he's got this colouring on his face. The others though, don't know. They could be robins or they could just be brown birds. I could do with a reference photo really for the birds to get him looking quite right. But let's have a go at this one. Let's do this one as a sort of sparrow. Let's grab a darkish brown first. This is the burnt umber, and we're going to do the colour over where it's marked as dark. And now bearing in mind that this is a feathery, so if you make it look liney, that's probably a really good thing because feathers don't just lie flat. There we go. So you can start adding in that sort of fluffy look already. There's some of it is actually marked for us. So that's nice. I think if we do this one as a sparrow and that one as a robin and the other one as a blue tit or a great tit, they're not all going to look the same, which I think is a good thing. Makes it more interesting to colour and to look at. So I've written most of my Christmas cards now, which is good. As I say, I haven't written one for my friend. I need to remember to do that. And I've done a fair bit of my shopping. It's always very tempting with birds to do the beaks a sort of gold colour, just because they look really nice. but I need to make sure I don't do that. I'm going to use the nougat now for most of the rest of the body of the bird and the wings and things. So I'm just going to overlap that darker colour with sharpening. This is much browner than I thought, if that makes any sense. I thought this was a more grey colour. So I'm just going to feather it by doing lines like this from the darker shaded colour that we've got there already. I think we're going to need a lighter one. I thought this was lighter. I thought I knew my polychromos quite well, but obviously not how it sits on this paper. But that is fine. We'll just extend this darker area and then we'll get a lighter one in a minute to finish off. It'll look better if we've got more than one layer anyway. Now I wasn't sure whether to make this the only video or to do the whole page really, but I think it sort of makes sense to do the whole page for you. Do sort of several parts to the video. I just got to wipe my nose, sorry. Because I was sure the sky, yeah, there's a lot to it really, isn't there? It's quite a big page, quite a lot going on. But anyway, we'll have a think. There are probably some shortcuts to make it a little bit quicker and easier. I'm thinking the tummy might be a bit lighter. Need quite a bit of white there. We can come in with our lighter brown. Thinking we go under the hat with this, there'll be a bit of shadow. It's quite a good excuse to do some scribbly colouring, isn't it? Right, where are we going to go now? Really light. I think the raw umber is going to be the one to do. And now I'm basically just going to take those feathers right to the edge, overlapping the lines. And it looks a bit scruffy when you go out the lines, but the feathers are not supposed to be neat. It's up to you really. This is a bit, again, a bit too a bit brighter than I expected. But I think it will all come together. I know what I'm going to do to sort of finish it off actually. So I've left some white bits, not worried about that. Particularly towards the edge, look. I think it just sort of looks more feathery. And a little bit lighter in colour too. This is my sort of first grayscale book. I really wasn't sure when I was given it how I would manage it. And I know that a lot of people would just use an alcohol marker over it and then let the grayscale show through, and I think it looks beautiful, but I cannot cope with the smell of I used some Sharpies the other day. I was immediately had a headache and felt quite unwell, quite sick, nauseous. So I was like, no, I don't know how people do it. Maybe the other brands are better, but I was just like, no. So just not for me really. And I love my pencils, as you know, and I actually feel that even if these are designed for markers, they get quite a nice effect with the pencils. Now, it's a pity we don't get to colour the eye. It's already done for us. I like doing eyes, but hey, it's just the way it is. So nearly there. I am going to actually stop the video and grab a tablet so I can find some pictures of what the other birds look like. Now this is rather bright and brown for a robin, really, for a sparrow I mean. What I'm going to do is just grab a warm grey and just put a few bits over. It's not going to fade it too much because we've already got the this is warm grey 4 because we've already got the oops, I mean just breaking the end, because we've already got the bright colours and dark colours there, but I'm just going to add a few tweaks here and there in the lighter areas, and I think that will just finish him off. Really, so that'll be good. I'll be happy. Also, it could do with a bit more on the ends of these wings anyway, because it's a little bit pale. There we go. A little bit on the chest and the ends of these wings. Then we have to think about the legs and the beak. As I say, it's very often tempting to do them yellow, but birds don't normally have yellow colouring. I'm actually going to do them grey. I'm going to grab the warm grey 6 for the feet. So I'm going to do more intense colour near the body where it's darker, but I'm going to do this colour over the whole of the foot because I'm not too worried about it having different colours in it. I can just put more intense colour down where it's marked, and there are lines drawn on the foot, on the feet, legs, which birds have little lines, and I want those to show through, so I don't want to press too hard. I want us to be able to see them. And then the beak, it's a lot darker under here than on here. I'm going to make this one quite light, darker there, or just put a bit of shine on it. Okay. Now around the eye, I've got this white bit. I'm just going to make it dark. There he is. So there's our sort of sparrow type bird. It doesn't look exactly like a sparrow in any sense, but I'm going to, as I say, I'm going to go and get a tablet with a reference photo to do these two. So 1 minute. Right, I have looked up this bird firstly, and from his markings, I don't know how easy it is for this. This is a picture from Wikipedia. This is a Eurasian blue tit, so that's what I think he is. Look at his eyes. So that's how we're going to colour him. So his face being white, and then the black, and then a yellow tummy, and a sort of bluey colour back. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with the black on the face. That's the easiest bit for me. So I'm grabbing my black, and I'm just going over all these areas, but I'm trying to do lines a little bit to make it look feathery. Because that's how his little face is, little feathers. There we go. Yeah, that's that. Now the face is white, of course, but there's a lot of grey markings in the picture, so I'm going to grab a grey and do a little bit. So we're going to use the cold grey 2 and just do a few lines on the bits that are dark, and then just the odd little bit here and there, just to make it look a bit more feathery. There we go, that'll do, not very much. Now the tummy, we have a very light yellow colour. Now this bit in the middle sometimes is black actually, so I think we'll do that bit first. So we'll grab the black again. It's not been marked in as black, which is interesting, so maybe this isn't, maybe I've taken the wrong bird, but so I'm trying to do a sort of lines to look more like feathers. There we go. Now we want a yellow going down to grey. It's quite a pale yellow. I think I'm going to use the light yellow. I'll tell you the name. Light yellow glaze. Okay. And again, I'm going to use my sort of, you won't really see this because of it being so pale though. Now, as I said, it fades down into a sort of grey. Yeah. So I'm going to stop here, use the grey. I find it easier to put grey into yellow than yellow into grey. It's got my, I think I'm going to use cold grey 3. I've just got to find it. There it is. So cold grey 3, and we'll put some grey in the bottom. And just sort of reduce the amount as we go up like that. And then we can grab our yellow again and put that down into the grey. Just a bit less down at the bottom there. There we go. Now the back is definitely a blue colour. I think it's this colour. This is the ultramarine. Again, I'm using this sort of feathery movement. It's a bit darker on the edges. I'm actually just going to press just a bit harder to get a darker line and then do it more gently here. I'm still not pressing mega hard. This is thin paper, to be careful. I want blue over all of it. Oh, my tablet's decided to switch itself off. And the tail I'm going to do, I haven't got a picture from that angle. I think we'll just do it the same. We'll get some deeper, darker colour in there. So basically layer it up more. So I want blue all over this bit, but just layer it up more in the areas that are marked out as darker. Like that. There we go. Now we have the little leg. What colour's the leg? Yeah, it isn't really in. This bit of the leg is actually blue. It's that bit that I'm not sure of. So this I'm going to do quite lightly. Except there where it's coloured in a bit dark. I'm just following the guidance here and darkening it on the areas that are a bit darker. I think that might just be grey. I'm going to use my cold grey 3 just to put some feathers on there. Okay, and now we have the beak. The beak is actually quite light, so I'm going to grab the cold grey 3 again. There we go. I'm going to do around the eye with it too. So there is our blue tit. Now I'm going to look up a picture of a robin as well, and then, oops, I pressed the wrong button on my tablet. There we go. Okay, so robins are fairly simple. So we want a red chest leading to white, and then brown and grey on the back, red on the face as well, but it's not really red, it's more orangey colour. So I'm going to use this red. This is the light cadmium red, which is more of an orangey red than what we've used for the hat. You can see how much more orangey it looks. Now I'm trying to overlay it in the areas that are marked as darker, and then do less in the lighter areas, rather than using different shades, because this is the colour I want. I'm not going to find a lighter and a darker sort of tone with the brown. I could get away with it. That looks nothing like a sparrow. I'm not even sure if this is supposed to be a robin. It just feels like the right bird for this sort of page, really. Now the chest actually fades to white quite quickly. There we go. Now white and grey, it's darker grey there and brown. I think what I'll do is I'm going to do I want a sort of grey brown. I think the bistre might work for the brown parts, which I'm going to do next, just so that I don't get muddled. I'm going to do the tail in this, just fade towards the edges. I'm just doing the areas that are marked as darker in the brown, and then I'm going to do a bit of grey on the other bits. The same with the bottoms of the wings. The bits that are marked I'm going to do in brown. Raise your shoulder. Let's do that with this as well, like that, and it will just separate it off. And then under here, I'm actually not doing it too feathery. I should really try to feather it a bit. The feet are quite pale, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use a warm brown, a warm grey, sorry. I've got a warm grey here. Yeah, I've got the warm grey 4, we'll use that. And we'll go over into those gaps. Hope you can see. And then all the way up here. Trying to make this look a bit more liney and feathery. And all the way up, really, just keeping it pretty much the same. We've got no we haven't got a lot of shade markings drawn on here, apart from the bits that I've done in brown, which I'm just trying to go over a little bit. Down here we need a bit, so it should be a bit of white, but I think we're just going to leave it. And then the feet in the grey. There we go. Now the beak, oh, it is grey as well. I'm just going to put a bit of shine in the middle and just make it dark in there. I don't really want that. And around the eye. Okay, let's have a quick look. I'm just sitting back to have a look. I think I'll put a bit of grey there. There we go. I think they look quite feathery. I think it's nice they're all different. So I'm going to leave them there. Yeah, I will come back and do some more for you. I think it'll be fun to do more. Maybe I'm thinking branch and house next, and then bits and pieces. Background, I'm thinking maybe pastels. Have a think. Anyway, for now, I'm going to leave it. I'll come back tomorrow, do a bit more pencil work. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day and happy colouring.